The hardest obstacle I ever faced was staring me in the mirror. I started realizing that all these people I blamed, they were gone. What was haunting me wasn't them, it was me. I couldn't control my dad. I couldn't control the people calling me names. I couldn't control the things that happened to me. But all those things kept me down because I let it. Their voices became my reality. I wasn't living my life. I was living the life they told me I was worth. And I believed it. The most important conversation you'll ever have in life is the one you have with yourself. And let me tell you my conversation. It was straight up brutal. What the hell was I telling myself? I'm dumb. I'm worthless. I'm nobody. My dad. That man was a master of mental warfare. A drunk, insecure bastard who made damn sure everyone around him felt like shit. Because if we didn't feel like shit, he'd have no power. That's why he broke my mom down, why he tore me and my brother apart. He wanted to keep us under his boot crush so we couldn't rise above him. Growing up in that mess, it wasn't the beatings that fucked me up. Hell, I could take a beating all day long. It was the mental torture. When your parents tell you you're nobody, that shit gets planted in your head like a bad fucking seed. My dad's voice turned into my voice. You're a loser. You'll never be shit. And then school came along and confirmed it. Third grade, falling behind, getting pegged as the dumb kid who needed a special class. That's when it all clicked. My dad was right. I'm a fucking loser. And I started cheating. Taking the easy way out. And guess what? That confirmed the voice even more. Then a few kids started calling me names, but in my head, it wasn't just a few kids, it was everybody. That's what happens when you let your reality get hijacked. 3 or 4 assholes feel like the whole goddamn world. I wasn't seeing clearly anymore. The whole town hated me. Hell, the whole world hated me. And that's when I became my own worst enemy. I was the one dragging myself down now. But my mom, she taught me something huge without even realizing it. My dad had taken her soul. She wasn't in any position to teach me life lessons. But you know what she did? She never fucking picked me up. She didn't coddle me, didn't tell me it's going to be okay, son. She didn't have the time or the energy for that. And you know what? That saved my life. When I failed, when I was down in the sewer of my own misery, she let me figure it the fuck out. She didn't sugarcoat shit. She didn't tell me life would get better. If anything, she told me the opposite. Life sucks. And she was right. It does. But because she didn't baby me, I had to learn to stand on my own 2 feet. I had to look at the world not as an excuse to quit, but as a damn training ground. Man, the world is a brutal place and most people crumble when they face it. But not me. I was ready. I'm ready for failure, for pain, for all the shit life throws my way. My mom didn't teach me this lesson by saying it out loud. She taught it by making me live it. And that's the biggest gift she ever gave me. So yeah, life sucks. But guess what? You can either use that as your excuse or you can use it to become a savage. The choice is yours. Man, if you read my book and see where I came from, let me make one thing clear. This person you see wasn't made by God. This person was built. I built him. I made him by taking all the insecurities life threw at me and owning them. If you're not smart, call yourself dumb. It's the fucking truth. If you're fat, call yourself fat. I used to weigh 300 pounds. Own your shit, but don't use it as a reason to quit. Use it to fuel your transformation. I used to lie to people to make them like me because I was so insecure. I didn't believe in myself. But when you start putting in the hard work, when you start building yourself up piece by piece, something incredible happens. You start to feel real, authentic confidence, the kind that comes from blood, sweat, and tears. People ask me, why don't you ever smile? I don't fucking have to. Yeah, I've got a stoic look on my face. I'm a focused motherfucker. But the feeling I've got in my soul and my heart, that's why I don't need to smile for you. I don't give a damn if you think I look happy or not. Most people walking around with smiles on their faces are lying anyway. They're giving you the version of themselves they think you want to see. I don't play that game anymore. I don't give a fuck how you perceive David Goggins. Because through this brutal journey, I figured out what I was missing. I thought it was the cars, the women, the money, all that bullshit. But the one thing I was missing was the courage to face myself. Once I started doing that every single day, everything changed. And guess what? It's not about the running or the workouts. People ask me, where does your work ethic come from? It comes from the hours I spend at that kitchen table grinding it out. When you're not smart, when you've got a learning disability, and you still want to rise to the top of your class. You can't just get by. I wasn't aiming for mediocre. I wanted to win, but to do that, I had to put in 10 times the work everyone else did. Do you know the kind of strength you build when you outwork the smart kid? When the valedictorian studies for 1 hour and you sit your ass down for 10. That's where David Goggins was born. At a fucking kitchen table staring at 20 empty spiral notebooks. 3 months later, those notebooks were full. That's how I learned. That's how I built myself. I still have those notebooks, and when I flip through them, I see the hours, the discipline, the grit. The problem is people run from what scares them. You don't gain confidence by hanging out in your comfort zone by staying where it feels good. That's a fake-ass confidence. The moment life punches you in the face, you'll crumble. Confidence doesn't come from that happy place. Confidence comes from diving straight into the shit that terrifies you. I stuttered like hell growing up, and guess what? I still do. But here's the thing. I don't give a fuck anymore. If I stutter in front of you, that's what gives me confidence. It's not about being perfect. It's about facing it over and over again. You might not beat it every day, but you keep showing up. That's where confidence is built. In the discomfort zone. But no, everyone wants an easier answer. They think there's got to be a shortcut. Well, let me tell you, there's no fucking shortcut. The only way is through the pain, through the fear, through the grind. That's where the real you is waiting to be built. I realized early on no one was coming to save me. Every single morning when I looked in the mirror, it was the same fucking feeling. Disgust. I started shaving my head at 16. And every day staring at myself in that mirror, I hated what I saw. I was a scared, weak-ass kid going nowhere. Most people, when they feel that way, they start looking for help. But here's the hard truth. The best thing that ever happened to me was that no one helped me. No one felt sorry for me. Back then, people didn't give a shit about my feelings. Nobody told the bullies to back off or put their arm around me to say it's going to be okay. Fuck no. The KKK was literally marching in our town's 4th of July parade, 100 yards back, but they were still there. That's the environment I grew up in. My mom cared about me, but my dad crushed her soul. She did her best, but she couldn't save me. So I had to make a decision. Stay a punk-ass kid for the rest of my life or fight like hell to turn it around. The way I chose to fight was through suffering. I had to build calluses in my brain the same way I built calluses on my hands. I learned that the only way to do that was to put myself through the kind of suffering most people run away from. I had to embrace pain and push through it until my brain became so damn tough it could handle anything life threw at me. That's how you build a callous mind, through relentless pain and suffering. What would I say to that 16-year-old kid staring in the mirror, hating what he sees but running from adversity? He's not going to like what I have to say because it's the opposite of what the world tells you today. The world tells you to read books about how to become someone else, how to copy someone else's success. Fuck that. What you need to do is turn yourself inside out. Start reading the book you're writing every single day, your own life. Stop running. Look at your fears, your weaknesses, and own them. So my advice to that kid or anyone feeling stuck is this. Ask yourself what the hell you're passionate about. What do you really want? And then instead of running from adversity, run straight into it. Dive into the pain, the suffering, the shit no one else wants to deal with. That's where you'll find yourself. That's where you'll build the person you're meant to be. Man, I'm sick of hearing all this bullshit people like to throw around. Only the strong survive and all that other motivational crap. People love to talk, but they don't know what the fuck they're talking about. And right now, some of you might think Goggins is just running his mouth. But let me tell you something. You don't know me. When I speak, it's not just talk. I'm speaking from pain, from experience, and from suffering. Here's the thing. The only way, and I mean the only way you're going to get through this life and come out the other side stronger is by suffering. You don't grow without it. Pain is the fucking price you pay for growth. That's my truth, and you might not like it, but that's the reality of life. Some people will get this and some people won't. That's just how it is. But the ones who get it, they'll realize this. Your journey doesn't start until you decide to face the pain head on. Most people go through life coasting. They live 80, 90, 100 years, raise some good kids, and send them to college and call it good life. But at some point in their life, they had a decision to make, to take the easy path or the hard path. Most choose easy because it's comfortable, and they might live a good life, but they'll never know what the great life feels like. The great life, that's on the hard path. That's where the suffering lies. And yeah, it might take 20 fucking years of pain to get through it. But when you come out on the other side, you're not just surviving, you're thriving. But here's the problem. Most people die without ever starting their journey. So my advice to that young person, start your journey. It's going to suck, but trust me, you'll come out the other side stronger. When I was a kid, I didn't even know who the fuck I was. I lied to everyone just so they'd like me. I wanted people to accept me because I couldn't even accept myself. Everything I did was to make someone else happy to fit into their world. I didn't realize how pathetic I was until I started reading my own book, the book of my life. And you know what I saw? A weak, scared little kid blaming everyone else for his problems. But then one day I stopped. I looked at my life and I said, you know what? It's time to stop blaming everyone else and start owning my shit. I had to face my fears, my failures, and my weaknesses. I was scared of my own shadow. How'd I fix that? I joined the military and got my ass kicked. I hated school because I wasn't smart. So instead of lying to myself and saying, oh, you're smart, I said, no, you're a dumb motherfucker. Now, what are you going to do about it? I educated myself. The truth is, most of us are running from the pain, from the fear, from the truth. But you can't outrun it forever. The only way I became who I am today is by turning around and running straight into it. The truth is brutal, it's painful, but it'll change you. It's the only way you'll ever find out who the fuck you really are. Now, man, most of this generation is soft as hell. Someone yells at them, tells them they messed up and they fold. But you know what that means? It's never been easier to be great. Most people are weak as shit. If you've got even a sliver of mental toughness, a shred of self-discipline, if you can push yourself to do the things you don't want to do, then you're already ahead of 90% of the people out there. People got this shit twisted. They really don't understand. I fucking hate running. And the thing that drives me insane is when people come up like, why the hell do you run if you hate it so much? What the fuck are you talking about? You think I like taking showers? You think I love eating the same boring ass meals every day? Nah, man, I hate that shit. But that's life, man. And here's the thing. It wasn't until I flipped my mentality that I became somebody worth a damn. I used to hate school too. And guess what? I was dumb as fuck because of it. That's how it works. 1 + 1 = 2. You don't do the work, you don't get the results. Period. But here's the truth people don't get. If you can force yourself to push through the shit you hate doing, greatness is sitting there waiting for you on the other side. When I run, I'm not just running. I'm callous in my damn mind. I'm not out here training for some fucking race. I'm training for life. I'm training for that 2 a.m. phone call when tragedy strikes, when life throws its hardest punch. I'm training so I don't crumble, so I don't fall apart. I'm training my mind, my body, and my soul to become one unstoppable unit, because life isn't going to hand you anything but challenges. And if you're not ready, physically and mentally, then you're fucked and you're no good to anyone. I don't care what I'm doing. Running, working, grinding, I want to be the best. But here's the thing. Being the best doesn't mean being number one to everyone else. Being the best means I left everything out there. I emptied the damn tank. I'm not competing against the world. I'm running against myself. I'm attacking me. I'm holding myself accountable every fucking day. That's where the accountability mirror comes in. And that mirror didn't lie. It told me every morning, you're fucking pathetic. And damn, it hurt, but it was the truth. I was trying to make other people like me. Think about that. How weak is that? Trying to get approval from people who didn't even matter. So I started holding myself accountable. I'd look in that mirror and ask, how did you attack today? How did you attack yesterday? And if I didn't like the answer, I wrote that shit down on a sticky note and I fixed it. By the time I hit my senior year, I wasn't the same David Goggins. I was a whole different animal. You want an example? All right, here's one. There was this lunch table, the cool kids table. Man, I wanted to sit there so bad, but to do that, I had to sell my fucking soul. I had to act like someone I wasn't. And one day I said, fuck that table. I wrote it down. Fuck the table. Sit by your damn self. And that's exactly what I did. You know what happened? My table became the spot everyone wanted to sit at. Turns out a whole lot of people in that lunchroom felt the same way I did. Like they didn't fit in. When I started overcoming my own bullshit, I got around these real alpha motherfuckers. Hard-ass men who didn't flinch under pressure. Growing up, I put those guys on a pedestal. I think, damn, they must have something I don't have. They're on a whole different level. And yeah, some of them did have a lot more than I did. But here's the thing. When you get close to the best of the best, you start seeing through their armor. You start realizing, man, you're just as fucked up as I am. The only difference, they're better at hiding it. See, their upbringing, their parents, their environment, they made it easier for them to camouflage their pain. For me, I couldn't hide shit. I was a black kid in a school where there were maybe 5 of us. And when you're the only black dude going through buds, there's no hiding. You're out there. But then I realized something. Most of these guys couldn't hide either. They just tried to. And that's when it hit me. We all have a story. We're all jacked up in some way. The difference is not everyone's got the balls to admit it. Life is one long-ass psychological war. And the toughest battles, they're not with the outside world. They're with yourself. The most brutal, savage conversations I've ever had were the ones I had with me. The shit I was telling myself, it was toxic as fuck. Wrong, misguided, and straight up lies. And it wasn't just me feeding myself that poison. Other people help write that fucked up script. They plant that shit in your head, and before you know it, you're repeating it to yourself every damn day. But then something flipped. I started creating a new war. A war one could win. I told myself, hold the fuck up, Goggins. You've got tools. You've been training for this your whole damn life. Every beating, every insult, every struggle. Every time I got laughed at for stuttering or called dumb. It wasn't breaking me. It was building me. My fucked up childhood wasn't a curse. It was the perfect training ground. No more woe is me bullshit. No more poor me. Let's kick a rock down the street. Nah, man. I started looking at my life like God hooked you the fuck up, Goggins. He gave you everything you need to be a warrior. All that pain. That was boot camp for life. While everyone else was sitting comfy, I was out there getting forged in fire. The first 18, 19, 20 years of my life. That was training. While I used to sit there thinking, man, they've got everything. Great family, loving parents, no stutter, no struggles. I flipped that shit. My struggle was my advantage. My pain was my fuel. That's what made me different. So I turned my fears into my fucking playground. I stopped running from my mind and became its master. That's what separates me from the rest. It's not talent. It's not genetics. It's my ability to dominate the shit going on in my head. I didn't care about losing weight. I didn't care about being the fastest or the strongest. I wasn't going to the damn Olympics, and I sure as hell wasn't going pro in anything. I could barely read and write as a junior in high school. I was going nowhere. But working out, that was my weapon. It wasn't about building muscle. It was about callousing my mind. I had to kill that victim mentality brick by brutal brick. And that's what I did. Every rep, every run, every mile. I was building a mind so strong that nothing could break it. That's how I stopped being a victim and became something else entirely. I used to sit around watching movies, man. Rocky, all that shit. I talked about it before, but let me tell you, I didn't watch those movies for fun. I watched them because they showed me something I was missing. Training in those movies. It wasn't just about getting jacked or winning a fight. It was mental toughness straight up. It looked brutal as hell. Waking up early, dragging your ass through the mud, putting in the work when you didn't feel like it. That shit didn't look fun. It looked horrible. And I thought, damn, if I want to be anything in this life, I've got to start doing that. Not to be bigger or stronger, but because that's what was going to build me. That discomfort, that grind. That's where the magic is. So I made a list. A long-ass list of everything I didn't want to do. Waking up at 5 a.m. running when it's cold, pushing myself and I'm tired, all that shit that makes most people quit. And you know what? That's where I found myself. Back in high school, none of those motherfuckers were doing what I was doing. Nobody was waking up at 5 a.m. running on some random-ass golf course while it was still dark out. I looked around and thought these guys are out here living easy, but I'm doing something different. I'm on another level. That's when I started to see myself differently. I had something they didn't have. A fucking edge. And through that edge, through all the shit I was putting myself through, I started building this insane work ethic. And from that work ethic, I developed something even bigger, self-esteem. I didn't read books back then. Hell, I could barely read at all. But I didn't need books. I had the grind and I had my imagination. I watched those movies and I visualized the life I wanted. I saw myself struggling, not running from it like I always had, but facing it. And that's when it hit me. I wasn't training to lift weights or hit some PR in the gym. I was training for fucking life. Discipline became my foundation through repetition, doing the shit I hated over and over again. I started to build something no one could take from me. Mental armor. Every day I suffered. Every day I did something that sucked. My mind started to get the message. This is who we are now. We suffer and we don't quit. So when life throws its punches, when the suck comes, I don't flinch. I'm ready for it because I've been living in the suck every damn day. That's how I built myself. By leaning into discomfort, by making the hard shit my way of life. And now, that's just who the fuck I am. There's always been this unrelenting voice in my head. You know the one. We all have it. It's that voice telling you what's right and what's wrong. But here's the thing. Most of the time, that voice guides us straight into comfort. And for most of my life, that's exactly what it did for me. It kept me soft, kept me hiding from the shit I didn't want to face. But there's another voice, this nasty-ass, ruthless motherfucker I've heard my whole life. That voice doesn't give a damn about comfort. It's the one that says, hey, fucker, what the hell are you doing? Nah, man, get your ass over there. To that rock pile in the corner where nobody else wants to go. That's where victory is. That voice didn't sugarcoat shit. It wasn't gentle. It told me over there in that painful, ugly-ass place, that's where the answers are. And here's the thing. I knew it was right. I wasn't a smart kid, but I wasn't dumb either. Deep down, I always knew the truth. The answers weren't in comfort. They were in the pain. But I didn't want to listen to that voice because over there was accountability. Over there was the mirror. Over there was me owning every fucked up thing in my life. Even the shit other people put on me. And I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to stand in that corner by myself. But guess what? That voice didn't give me a choice. It dragged my ass over there kicking and screaming. Call it God, call it whatever you want, but that voice was relentless. Back then, I was a fucking clown. I didn't know who I was, so I tried to hide it. I built this character, a fake-ass version of myself, to impress people who didn't even give a shit about me. I was trying out new hairstyles, sagging my pants, acting like some fool, just to fit in. One time I shaved the top of my head like I was some old man going bald. Kept the sides and back. Walked into school like that thinking I was the shit. Another time when crisscross was big, I turned my pants backwards, sagged them so low my ass was hanging out, wore my shirt backward. And carried a toothbrush in my mouth like some idiot. I even shaved my head except for a tiny ass patch of hair for a reverse part. I looked like a damn joke. Instead of studying, instead of putting in the work to get better, I sat at home trying to figure out how to impress some random motherfuckers at school. That was my life. Every decision I made revolved around them, not me. And let me tell you something, that's a long, painful road to nowhere. Fast forward to today. People see me now and say, Goggins, you never smile. You're always so serious. And I think to myself, you motherfuckers have no clue. You don't know the road I had to walk to get here. You don't know the bullshit I had to cut out of my life or the pain I had to embrace to become this person. The guy you see now, he's the product of years of suffering discipline and listening to that hard-ass voice that wouldn't let me quit. And I wouldn't trade that for anything. There's a fucking massive difference. Difference between being a champion and just being good. Let's take boxing, for example, a 12-round championship fight. Both fighters are in their corners after the 11th round, completely gassed. The guy who's just good is sitting there thinking, I've given everything I have. I just need to survive the 12th round. But the champion doesn't hear shit from his corner. All the advice, the yelling, the water bottles, none of it registers. He's in his own head thinking, what the fuck haven't I given yet? Where's the piece of me I haven't tapped into? That right there, that's the difference between being good and being unstoppable. Man, I see a lot of people set these finish lines for themselves, and the moment they hit them, they stop. That's bullshit. I've got a saying, I don't stop when I'm tired, I stop when I'm done. And when I was younger, I didn't even have a goal. I wasn't chasing a dream or some big vision. What I had was a simple as fuck to-do list. Because here's the thing, as a human being, if you don't have something to tackle every day, if you don't have a mission, you're just going to sit there and rot. You'll fade away into nothing. Look at people in the military or business or whatever the hell they do. They spend 20 years grinding and then retire. And then what? They've got nothing. They sit there with their thumbs up their asses wondering why they feel so fucking empty. That's why I live by a what's next mentality. I never sit idle. Not for one damn second. You will never find me sitting back enjoying the sun thinking I made it. I've arrived. Hell no, I have never arrived and I never will. People love to ask me, are you happy? And you know why they ask that? Because my drive makes them uncomfortable. My intensity shines a light on their weakness, and instead of facing that shit, they try to put it back on me. You must not be happy, Goggins. You're doing too much. That's weak ass talk. What they're really saying is, you're making me feel like shit because you're operating at a level I'm not willing to reach. Guess what? If I'm making you feel that way good, that means I'm doing my job. When I was a weak ass motherfucker, I used to do the same thing. I see someone who was on fire for their purpose and I try to rationalize their success. I tell myself they must be crazy. They're not happy. They're empty inside. But the truth was I didn't understand them because I wasn't willing to pay the price they paid. So now when people hit me with those questions, I know I'm exactly where I need to be. If you think I'm insane good, that means I'm not living in your weak ass comfort zone. Man, confidence comes from being able to look in the mirror and like who the fuck you see staring back at you. If you wake up, look in that mirror and see someone who's fat, out of shape, weak, or just not who you want to be, then you've already lost a day. That mirror doesn't lie, man. It reflects every fucking choice you've made up until this point. So what do? You fix that shit. My whole thing is this. Get the fuck up and get to work. Burn some calories, get the blood flowing, wake up your fucking mind. Every single day I'm running, working out, stretching. 3 to 5 hours minimum. Yeah, it's extreme, but that's what it takes to win the war with yourself. During that time, I'm in my head deep in the raw, ugly truths of my life. I'm not out here running just to sweat. I'm running to dig into the hard S, the uncomfortable shit. Because that's where the answers are. Man, my life is built on routine and focus. Hyper fucking focus. Everything I do is about creating synergy between my body and my mind. Why? Because once your mind slips, once you lose control of your thoughts, you're done. Game over. That's why I hit the pavement every day. When the blood's pumping, when the intensity is through the roof, that's when the ideas come. That's when I'm back in the dungeon where the real growth happens. You want confidence, earn it. You want to like the person in the mirror. Stop making excuses and start putting in the fucking work. Simple as that. Let me tell you something. My most inspiring moment wasn't when I was breaking records or running ultras. It was when I was 300 fucking pounds spraying for cockroaches and trying to figure out how the hell I was going to turn my life around. That's when I was having those deep, raw, honest ass conversations with myself. I'd be sitting there sweating and defeated, asking, how the fuck am I going to do this? How the fuck am I going to get out of this hole? That's where the magic happened. When you're at rock bottom, your brain starts pulling every card it has. Mantras start popping up left and right. Every 3 or 4 seconds, a new one comes up because you're desperate to keep going. That's the power of the underdog mentality. It's raw, it's relentless, and it's the only thing keeping you alive when the world's already counted you out. And you know what? Every time I go out to work out, even now at 44 years old with all I've accomplished, I'm not David Goggins out there. Fuck no. I'm still that 300-pound dude. I'm still that guy with nothing, with everyone doubting me, spraying for roaches and struggling to breathe. Because if you walk out there like you've already arrived, like you've made it, you're done, you're soft. You'll start skipping the hard shit, and that's where the growth is. You have to stay hungry. Always. Look, I get it. This is the world they grew up in. But here's the harsh truth. There's no fucking shortcut. Yeah, you see a few people making millions off some app or tech invention, but that's less than 1%. And the rest of us, we've got to put in the hard fucking work. Old school, no gimmicks, no hacks, no shortcuts. People always ask me, what's the secret, Goggins? How do I get rich? How do I get fit? How do I become better? And you know what I tell them? There's no secret. You see these fucking hands? They're callous as hell because I've worked for everything I've got. That's the answer. Hard fucking work. And if you're not ready to hear that, stay in your comfort zone. Stay distracted. Keep scrolling. But don't come crying when you're stuck in the same place wondering why you never made it. You want it. Earn it. There's no other way. Man, I've got this ability to see people suffering. I can feel it because I've been there. I know there are two versions of you. The one you show the world all happy and smiling, pretending everything's fine, and the one who's alone at home drowning in self-doubt and misery, feeling like you're not good enough. That second version. That's who I'm talking to. That's who I want to wake the fuck up. My goal is to give people as much strength and power as I can because I know what it's like to feel powerless. When you get up every fucking morning, I want you to remember my story. I want you to know that you don't just have to survive in this world. You can fucking thrive. But it starts with you. It starts with owning your pain, embracing the suck, and doing the fucking work. Man, I don't want anyone to suffer the way I did. Period. That's why I'm out here day after day doing what I do. But let me tell you something. You can't bullshit your way through life. When you spend years looking in that mirror, lying to yourself, lying to everyone around you to eat you alive. I know because that was me. I grew up in a fucking war zone. My dad beating the living shit out of me every damn day and me not knowing right from wrong, up from down. When you're a kid in that kind of chaos, everything is fed. It wasn't just me. My mom was in that hellhole too. She's a good woman, but even she got dragged down by all the violence, all the bullshit. You're just a kid living in this fucked up world trying to survive. No one's coming to save you. I had no mentors, no one to say, this is how you do it. So what did I do? Man, I had to build myself. Piece by fucking piece. I didn't know what being a man even meant, but I started creating this vision of what I thought a man should be. I looked at myself in the mirror and I hated the reflection staring back at me. I had let myself go. I was 297 pounds of pure failure working a dead-end job at Ecolab for $1,000 a month. I had hit rock bottom, and I wasn't just a victim of my circumstances. I was also a victim of my own bullshit. And then I made a decision. I said, I'm going to fucking die trying to fix this. I didn't care if it killed me. I didn't care if I lost my legs, broke my body, or went through unimaginable pain. That reflection in the mirror was going to change. Or I was going to die trying. There was no middle ground. Every night I'd stand in front of that mirror, shaving my head, staring into my own eyes and hearing that voice in my head. You ain't shit. You're going to be nothing for the rest of your life. That voice haunted me every second of every day. And one day I said, fuck this. I'm breaking myself off to fix this person in the mirror. I went all in, no excuses, no shortcuts. Every scar on my body, every broken bone, every ounce of pain, I've endured. It's all proof of the sacrifices I made to become someone. I earned this. I earned every scar, every wound, every fucking mark on my body. People ask me, what does that mean you earned it? It means I sacrificed everything to change the man I saw in that mirror. And if you're sitting here reading this thinking it's not possible, then you're still lying to yourself. I'm not saying do what I did. My life dragged me through hell and forced me to level the fuck up. When you're in a real shitty situation and misery's eating you alive, all that anger you've been holding on to, it's gone. What's left is raw, unfiltered truth. Who the fuck are you? Where are you really at? You're not thinking about those assholes from high school who laughed at you or your dad beating your ass. None of that matters when you're in the suck. Picture this. You're in hell week, freezing your balls off in 50-degree water and your whole body's begging to quit. You're not sitting there thinking, oh, those kids bully me. Fuck no. That anger doesn't carry you through shit like that. You need something deeper, something primal to push you forward. For me, it's knowing what humans are capable of and knowing that most people don't have the balls to go where I've been. And that's dangerous. I'm not saying I'm better than anyone. This isn't about talent. It's about mindset. Most people stop so fucking far from their potential, it's sickening. I've seen it. I've lived it. All these people with their perfect lives, perfect families, perfect opportunities. They don't know what it's like to fight like I fought. They quit before they even start. Why? Because they've never had to examine themselves. Life's been too fucking easy for them. But when your life is fucked up, you don't have a choice. You've got to do a live autopsy on yourself. You've got to dig deep and find strength in places no one else dares to look. For me, nothing's ever been handed to me. I've got a learning disability. I can't just pick up a book and crush it. Everything I do requires preparation, discipline, and grit. It's disgusting how much effort I've got to put in just to do what others take for granted. And that's why I don't stop ever. If I stop, I lose it. If I stop reading, I won't be able to read tomorrow. If I stop working out, my mind will drag me back to that weak quitting place. I grew up in that place and it's always waiting for me. That's the fight every fucking day. Keeping my mind from slipping back into comfort, from taking the easy road. The mind wants to quit. It wants to avoid pain. But fuck that. I fight it every damn day and I'll keep fighting until I die. It's a constant fucking evolution, man. I've never arrived. Never. Right now, I'm stressing my ass off, grinding 2-3 hours at a time, trying to reinvent the damn wheel. I look back and think I went through Navy SEAL training completely fucked up. I ran over 7,000 miles in 2007. Fucked up. I broke the pull-up record. Fucked up. My mind is on another fucking level, so now it's about letting the body catch up to the mind. That's where I'm at now. I'm always pushing, always trying to see what the fuck I'm capable of next. That's why people resonate with me. I cut through all the fucking fluff. Fuck fluff. I don't even know what the fuck that is. Life didn't hand me any fluff. So I'm not going to hand it to you. I'm telling you the raw shit. Because I know a lot of you out there are going through hell. Maybe not as bad as me, maybe worse. I don't give a fuck. But you don't know how to deal with it because we're taught to live in this soft ass world. Act this way, talk that way, be kind, be gentle. Fuck that. Nothing gets solved in that world. You stay stuck, you stay fucked up waiting on things to magically get better because someone told you they would. No, you've got to go to fucking war with yourself. And let me tell you, when that war is over, you're going to be sitting there with your bruises. Your scars, your fucked up body, maybe even an ass so tight you lose 2 inches off your fucking height. But when it's over, you'll sit there with a glass of water or fucking beer if that's your thing. And you'll understand what the fuck life is about. That's when you find peace. You find peace after the war, not during it. But until then, stop looking for some feel-good bullshit book to guide you out of your suffering. That shit doesn't work. Maybe it works for some people, but they're just scratching the surface of real life. Real life is when you get knocked the fuck down and the person who knocked you down realizes, oh fuck, I made a mistake. This motherfucker's coming back and it's going to be a problem. That's how you've got to approach life. It's not about winning. I don't give a fuck about winning. It's about making sure that whoever or whatever tries to put you down regrets the fucking decision. You want life to be scared of you, not the other way around. That's the mentality that keeps you in the fight. That's what it's all about. Being hard means everything, man. It's not some surface level shit. It's about sacrifice, about doing whatever the fuck it takes. It means losing sleep going without so others can move forward. Whether it's your family, your team, or your brothers in combat, you put their needs above your own. But to do that, you've got to be hard as fuck. A real man, a true leader. That shit is not easy. It's lonely, it's thankless. People will hate you, misunderstand you, talk shit about you, but you don't have time to care. Your job is to make the best fucking decision even when it sucks for you. What I learned on my journey is how incredible the human mind is. How far we can go when we truly believe. But belief isn't some half-assed thing you pull out when life's easy. A lot of people say they believe in God, but the moment life kicks their ass, they start blaming him. That's not belief. That's bullshit. True belief is staying solid when everything around you is crumbling. It's going to those dark, painful places where most people are too scared to go. It's suffering, questioning, asking, why the fuck am I doing this? In those moments, I didn't blame anyone. I didn't blame God, my past, or my situation. I blamed myself. And in doing that, I found myself. I discovered how to dig deep and get better. That's why I say Roger that. It's not just words. It's a mindset. I've been through every special ops training out there. Delta Force Rangers, Air Force Special Ops, Navy SEALs. If there's a hard fucking place, I've been there. Why? Because I wanted to see who David Goggins really is. Most people quit when shit gets tough because they overthink it. They let their minds get in the way. In Buds, training that Pacific Ocean is cold as fuck. You've been up for 7 or 80 hours straight and your brain is screaming, why the fuck am I doing this? That's where people quit. They let the misery sink in and start fantasizing about comfort. I could be at home right now taking a hot shower, drinking coffee, eating a fucking donut. That's the weak ass voice in their heads and they listen to it. But the people who make it, the ones who push through, they don't overthink it. When the instructor says, jump in the water roll, in the sand, do push-ups, they don't argue. They don't think about how stupid it is. They just say, Roger that and get it done. Thinking too much can make you weak. Yeah, thinking is good. When it's time to strategize, when it's time to plan. But in the moment when shit hits the fan, thinking will fuck you up. That's when you need to shut the brain off and just execute. That's how you stay in the fight. That's how you see what the fuck you're really made of. And Roger that mentality. It's simple as fuck. When someone tells you to do something, you don't waste time overthinking it. You just say, Roger that and get it done. You don't sit there analyzing how hard it's going to be or why it's unfair or why it sucks. You just fucking do it. And before you know it, the task is done and you're moving on with your life, racking up success after success because you didn't let your mind get in the way. Back when I was in the Air Force, I was trying to be an Air Force special operator. I was almost through the training, but then they found out I had sickle cell. Boom. Disqualified, just like that. I wasn't having it. I fought the system, went all the way to the Secretary of Defense, and they let me back in. But there was a catch. They made me start over from day one. And let me tell you, I didn't have that Roger that mindset yet. I let fear take over. I was scared of the water, didn't want to go through that shit again. So what did I do? I quit. I sat at home, gained a ton of weight, fell into depression. A year later, I'm sitting there fat as fuck, feeling sorry for myself, and I see this Navy SEAL Hell Week documentary on Discovery Channel. That's when I had my accountability mirror moment. I looked in that mirror and said, I'm tired of being this scared-ass version of myself. I was becoming exactly what everyone said I was back in high school, weak, nothing, a quitter. I didn't want to be that guy anymore. So I marched my ass to the recruiter and said I want to be a Navy SEAL. Here's the thing. The recruiter tells me I've got to lose 105 pounds in 60 fucking days. I was almost too old to even qualify. Most people would have quit right there, but not me. You know the story. I lost the weight. I went through 3 fucking hell weeks, and I became a Navy SEAL. That's what happens when you stop overthinking and start saying, Roger that. But here's the thing. It wasn't just about the physical shit. I had this voice in my head that wouldn't shut the fuck up. It was always there nagging me, pushing me. I stuttered bad as a kid, was nervous as hell about everything, and my home life was a fucking nightmare. My mom was a great woman, but she wasn't around much, and my dad was abusive as hell. That voice, man, it haunted me. It wouldn't let me off the hook. Every time I messed up, it was there saying, you can do better. You have to do better. And it pissed me off because I just wanted an easy road for once. But that voice, that hard-ass road, it was God guiding me the whole way. People ask me all the time, how the fuck did you make it? No mentor, no great parents, no money, no talent. I'll tell you how I didn't ignore that voice. That voice was my accountability. It made me own my shit when I messed up. It made me apologize when I was wrong. It made me take the hard road every time. And yeah, it was painful as fuck, but it led me to where I am today. God didn't make it easy for me, but he never let me off the hook, and I'm damn glad he didn't. That's what got me here. That's what keeps me going. In the SEAL training, you're supposed to go through 1 hell week. That's it. Just one. But me. I went through 3 fucking hell weeks in 1 year. I'm the only person in 70 years of SEAL training history to ever do that. Hell week is 130 hours of nonstop ass kicking. You get maybe 2 hours of sleep the entire time, and the whole purpose is simple. They're trying to break you. The real training starts when you're destroyed, when you've got nothing left and you're standing in front of your own mental grave. That's hell week. I was lucky enough to hit SEAL training in the 1 year out of 70 when the commander decided to make things even worse. He said, if you get hurt or if you fail anything, I don't give a shit where you are in training. Even if it's the last fucking week. I'm rolling you all the way back to day 1. 6 months of training. Doesn't matter. Screw up. Back to day 1. So there I was in my first hell week, 5th week of training, pushing through, and I get injured. Rolled back to day 1. Fine. Roger that. I start again. I push through my 2nd hell week. Hardest shit in the military. And I'm ready to move into phase 2 of training. I'm thinking finally I'm out of the worst of it. Then boom. I mess up my fucking leg. What happens? Back to day 1 again. Now it's my 3rd hell week in this one. Cold as hell in San Diego. So cold, we had a guy died of pulmonary edema. A guy died. But I pushed through, made it out, and finally became a Navy SEAL. 3 hell weeks in 1 year. That's my story. But here's the thing. Hell week isn't just about the pain. It's about your mind. During training, we had to carry these big, heavy-ass logs and boats everywhere. Those things weigh you down, not just physically, but mentally. And on the hardest days, I noticed something. My mind would let these demons creep in. They start whispering all this bullshit. You can't do this. Just quit. This sucks, but I figured out something. If I could find more in myself during training, just a little more, I could get through those moments. So after getting my ass handed to me all day, you know what I do? I go to the gym. Yeah, after Hell Week training, I go lift. People thought I was fucking insane. One guy in my boat crew asked me, why the hell are you going to the gym after a day like this? I told him straight up. Because those boats and logs are fucking heavy and I need to be stronger. A few days later, we're on the beach carrying those boats and logs again, back and forth, up and down. That same guy quit. I looked at him as he dropped out and I said, hey, who's going to carry the boat now? That's life, man. This is the boat. Who's going to carry it? Are you going to quit and leave it for someone else, or are you going to step the fuck up and carry it yourself? That's the question. When I first joined the military, I got hit with some of the dumbest fucking advice you could ever hear. They told me blend in. Don't stand out. Don't volunteer for anything. Keep your head down and just coast through. That's the blending in mentality, and it's exactly why so many people out there are stuck in mediocrity. It's comfortable, it's easy, and it's bullshit. If I followed that advice, I'd still be that fat ass scared of everything guy. I'd be okay with running a shitty 297 PFT. I'd be okay hating swimming. I'd never have tried to become a SEAL. Never would have gone to Ranger School. Never would have pushed myself to the fucking edge in ultra races. That mentality would have kept me exactly where I started. Just blending the fuck in with the rest of the crowd. Look around society right now. You see it everywhere. People just blending and settling for average. They're playing it safe, doing just enough to get by, scared to stick out, because sticking out means you've got to work harder, risk more, and give a shit about where you're going. Fuck blending in. Change your mentality. Stand the fuck out. Just the other day, I was on a 17-hour flight. I'm sitting there tired as hell, and this little voice creeps into my head. Take the day off, man. Nobody will know. Nobody will care. But you know what keeps me from listening to that weak ass shit? I know, deep down, there's someone out there working harder than me. That haunts me. That thought drives me insane, because I know that person exists. They're out there right now sacrificing sleep, comfort, personal desires, whatever the fuck it takes to be better. And here's the thing. If there's someone out there haunting you, make sure you become the one haunting somebody else. Make sure that when they think about the person who pushes harder, who grinds longer, and who never quits, they think of your name. You own that space in their head. Get in there and live rent-free. Because when the time comes and you feel like quitting, and trust me, you will, you better remember all the fucking sacrifices you made to get where you are. When I got out of the Air Force, after 4.5 years, I was damn near 300 pounds. I was eating everything in sight, lifting heavy as hell, and I looked like a monster. People were afraid of me. And that's exactly what I wanted. But here's the truth. Inside, I was still a big-ass pussy. That's the thing most people don't get. You can look tough on the outside, but if your mind is soft, you're still weak as hell. It doesn't matter how much you lift or how scary you look if you're still blending and hiding from the hard shit. So there I was busting my ass from 11 at night to 7 in the morning, spraying for cockroaches in those shitty diners you all love. I'd be out there killing bugs, stealing leftover food like some broke-ass scavenger. Brownies, fries, whatever the hell was left. Then after that grind, I'd hop in my car and commute 45 minutes home. But here's the thing. I'd stop at 7-Eleven, grab a box of those mini donuts and crush them while chugging a chocolate milkshake on the drive back. When I got home, I'd flip the TV on just to have some noise, hop in the shower, and pretend my life didn't suck. 2 miles down the road after that, I hit the gas station again for my staple breakfast. And what was that? Oh, just 8 Pillsbury cinnamon rolls, all of them gone in one sitting. It didn't stop there. I'd throw down a half a pound of bacon, 7 or 8 strips at least. Then there were the eggs scrambled hard and dry in a fat-ass bowl of Fruity Pebbles. You think I stopped there? Hell no, I'd wash it all down with another chocolate milkshake. This wasn't breakfast. It was self-destruction on a plate. I was making $1,000 a month at the time, living in an $800 a month place. I won't even tell you how I made that math work, because it's embarrassing. One morning after that usual routine of eating myself into a coma, I was in the shower getting ready to hit my mom's place for more food. That's when I heard it. Some guy on TV talking about the world's toughest training. The Navy SEALs, Hell Week. I knew about them a little, heard they were supposed to be some badass dudes. But when I walked out of that shower towel, barely fitting around my fat ass, I sat down on that couch and I watched those guys. Holy shit, they were getting crushed. Ocean waves pounding them, jackhammering from the cold, passing out underwater, doing insane swims instructors, reviving them like it was nothing. And then there was that bell, the damn quit bell. When it was over, they showed the graduation. Out of everyone who started, only 22 guys made it. The commanding officer gave a speech. He said, "We live in a society where mediocrity is often rewarded." That line hit me like a punch in the gut. I sat there fat as hell, out of shape, exactly what everyone said I'd be. A failure. But the truth was I believed it. I was my own worst enemy, telling myself every day that I wasn't shit. And you know what? I was right. I wasn't. That was my rock bottom, man. Sitting on that couch wrapped in failure, I realized something. No one's coming to save you. I had to get up, had to change. That was the moment I decided. No more excuses, no more bullshit. It was time to find the fight in me, no matter how ugly or hard it got. So there I was, damn near 300 pounds, looking at myself in the mirror and saying, I'm going to be a Navy SEAL. Sounds fucking crazy, right? At the time it was. I didn't even believe it myself. For 2 weeks, I went to every recruiter I could find, trying to get someone to even entertain the idea of letting me in. I finally ended up at this guy, Steven Saljo's office, and when he told me I needed to lose 106 pounds in less than 3 months, I thought that's impossible. No one can do that. But then I left his office, got myself a chocolate milkshake. Because let's be real, I love those damn things, and went back to my dead-end job at Ecolab spraying down restaurants. That night, I was at some shitty diner spraying for cockroaches. Now, let me be honest, I wasn't actually looking for cockroaches most of the time. I'd show up, eat some leftover food, spray a little here and there, and walk my fat ass out, signing the job off like I did something. But that night was different. I actually did some work for once, and holy shit, I found cockroaches everywhere. It was disgusting. And in that moment, it hit me. This is my life. This is who I've become. I dropped the sprayer, walked out and said, fuck this job, I'm done. On the drive home, I made a decision. I told myself, you're going to lose 106 pounds. You're going to change your life. And it starts today. I pulled into my driveway, laced up some shoes that hadn't seen action in years, and decided I was going to run 4 miles. I started running, and after what felt like an eternity, I was completely gassed. I was hunched over, hands on my knees, heart pounding out of my chest. When I finally made it back home, I checked the distance, for a quarter mile. A fucking quarter mile. I couldn't even make it a single mile, and here I was thinking I could run 4. I collapsed on the couch, tears in my eyes, feeling like the biggest piece of shit on the planet. I kept thinking, this is my life, this is who I am. Fat, weak, pathetic. But something deep inside wouldn't let me quit. Every day after that, no matter how shitty I felt, mentally, physically, emotionally, I just kept showing up. I started to realize something. This is how it's supposed to feel. It's not supposed to feel. It's not supposed to be pretty. It's not supposed to be comfortable. Life isn't a fucking flower garden, it's a sewer. It's filthy, it's grimy, it's brutal. And that's exactly how it's supposed to be. The more I embraced the grind, the more I understood that failure wasn't the enemy. It was the foundation. Pain was my teacher. Every setback was a lesson. Slowly, my mindset shifted. I stopped looking at myself as a victim and started seeing my life as a training ground. Every day I was building something, a mental toolbox. Every failure, every drop of sweat, every tear was another tool. And the more I pushed through, the stronger I became. I realized I could take more pain than I ever thought possible. And that's when everything started to change. I wasn't chasing comfort anymore. I was chasing growth. And the only way to grow was to embrace the shit, to live in the sewer, and to keep fucking going no matter how hard it got. That's when I became unstoppable. Most people don't know my full story. They see the finished product, the man standing here now, and they think I was born like this. They see the end result, the beast that was forged, but they don't see the years of blood, sweat, and absolute fucking misery it took to build this man. They don't see the fire I walked through, the hell I had to embrace to create this version of myself. See, you don't make a sword without fire. You throw that raw piece of metal into the flames, heat it up until it's glowing, and then you beat the living fuck out of it. Over and over. You hammer it, you fold it, you pound it again and again until it's razor sharp, unbreakable. That's how you build strength. Nothing hard, nothing powerful comes from staying soft. I started thinking about failure differently. Most people see failure and they stop. They say, I can't do this, and that's it. They're done. But I started to flip the script. Failure wasn't an end, it was the process. It was the fucking fire. Every time I failed, every time I got knocked down, I asked myself, how many people could survive this? How many people could do what I'm doing? I knew where I came from. I couldn't even fucking read as a kid. My dad beat the soul out of me. I was broke and lost 175 pounds of scared weak shit. And then instead of climbing out of that hole, I dug myself even deeper. I ballooned up to nearly 300 pounds. I was in the darkest, nastiest place imaginable. But you know what? I looked at that hole and said, this is going to make the story even better. All the shit I went through, all the pain, all the setbacks. It wasn't dragging me down anymore. It was fucking fuel. Every failure, every rocky moment where life had me on the ropes, I used it. I started asking myself, what if I get up? What if I turn this around? What if I make this hell into something legendary? I found power in the misery. I could sit in the sewer in the absolute worst moments of my life, and I started to feel strength there. That's the difference, man. It's easy to feel motivated when life is good, when everything's going your way. But the real motherfuckers, they find that drive when they're sitting in the shit alone. If you can pull strength out of that, if you can find determination and fire when there's nothing and no one to help you, that's when you figured it out. That's when you've unlocked what most people will never touch. We all have that power, man. It's in your mind. It's how you talk to yourself in the darkest moments. It's how you see yourself when you're trapped in that dungeon. Most people never find it. They stay in the sewer accepting the pain, letting it beat them. Stay hard.